he's asking about says, "Blessed and holy is the one who shares in the first resurrection. The second death has no power over them, but they will be priests of God and of the Messiah, and they will reign with him 1,000 years." And so it talks about the Satan will be thrown
Cast into the abyss.
the abyss for 1,000 years, and then those who have been, I think it sounded like it was those who have been martyred, will reign, and others will have that authority to judge as well for 1,000 years, and those are the ones who were in the first in that resurrection, and then this verse.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
So who will participate in the Millennial Kingdom?
Yeah.
Okay. First, there'll be resurrected believers from this era, because I believe the resurrection and translation of church saints, people who, like us in this era, will either be resurrected before the rapture, before the tribulation at the rapture,
Okay.
or will be translated. If we're alive at the rapture, we'll be translated into the glorified body that we have. We won't die. We'll just be translated in the twinkling of an eye. And so, but we'll return with the Lord and enter the kingdom. Remember, it says he descends with the holy ones after the marriage supper of the Lamb in Revelation 19. So that's what will be some of the resurrected people. Then the Old Testament saints will be resurrected when the Lord returns to establish his kingdom. That's in Daniel 12:2 and 3. It talks about the Old Testament saints, all those saints who went to be with him when they died, David, Abraham, all those guys, they get to be resurrected and enter the kingdom.
So is that the same so there's the new heavens and new earth, which are
That's different. That's the eternal
not
state.
This. This is the Millennial Kingdom.
Yeah, the 1,000 years.
1,000 years, okay.
So you've got the church resurrected before the tribulation. You've got the Old Testament saints being resurrected after the tribulation, and also those who died in the tribulation, the martyrs during the tribulation, those who are preaching the gospel and martyred, they will be resurrected and enter the kingdom, the Messianic kingdom, the millennium.
But that would include all martyrs, right? Like anyone before this. I mean, like
no. Only the martyrs of the tribulation. Because the martyrs before the rapture, they're resurrected. They're church martyrs. They'll be resurrected. If there was an Old Testament martyr, he'll be resurrected at the start of the kingdom.
Okay.
And then also at this time, the martyrs of the tribulation will be resurrected. Okay? So all martyrs will have been resurrected by then. But
you're just distinguishing between the categories. Okay.
Yeah.
But they will all be there reigning
Yeah.
for this millennial kingdom with Christ.
Yes. And then, but the purpose of the millennium is to I would say there's two main purposes. One, to fulfill the promises that God made to Israel, to inherit the land, to have a righteous kingdom, to be a kingdom of priests, to bring knowledge of God to everyone. All those promises that Israel has never fully experienced will be fulfilled in the kingdom, in that 1,000-year reign. A second one is that, think about it, there will also be people who are believers at the return of the Lord who have not been resurrected. They will also enter the kingdom.
Okay. But in unresurrected bodies.
Yeah, in mortal bodies. And they will marry and have children. And those children in that 1,000-year reign, those children, grandchildren, they will have to come to know the Lord. Okay. They will have to trust in Jesus. And you would think that they all would, because he's reigning right there in Jerusalem. But they don't. And in the end, they rebel. Even though Satan's been bound, they still don't believe. Even though Satan's been bound, they don't become believers. And so at the end, when he is unbound, there's one last rebellion against God that's called the War of Gog and Magog in Revelation 20. So I think what this is showing is that I think what it's saying is, listen, a lot of people think that the reason some don't believe is because the devil makes them do it, Mm-hmm. But here's going to be a time where the devil isn't doing it. Do you know what's keeping them from believing? Their own flesh and their own rebelliousness and unwillingness. And so what this shows is, first of all, that God's going to be faithful to all his promises. That's the first reason. But the second is to show that people are going to be just like they always were. And we shouldn't be blaming the enemy. We shouldn't be blaming the devil like Geraldine did in the old Flip Wilson comedy, The Devil Made Me Do It, but rather recognize that we are all fallen, even people born in the millennium.